Hello friends. I wanted to come on and do a little short video about something that came up for me in the Akashic Records this morning. So a lot of you who, you know, see things maybe similar the way I do, you've probably been feeling pretty tired. I've been feeling really exhausted and frustrated with what we're seeing laying out. It seems like things are getting worse in some ways, and what essentially is medical apartheid, and just how can people be doing this? How can people be believing this? How is this okay, right? It gets really exhausting. However, one of the gifts that it's just such an amazing gift to be in the Akashic Records or to have access to that, which we all can. And by the way, I'm teaching a class on that in June, an online class. This is not why I'm here to do this video, but if you're interested, I can teach you how to do it. It's just such an amazing gift because it gives me a higher perspective. So what I was asking about was, how do we deal with this? Like, how do we cope? How do we manage? I've been feeling a lot of anger, and just how are people buying into this still? And of course, we know, a lot of us know that what's happening is that we're going through this age of awakening. It's been prophesied. And, sometimes it's like, well, is it really getting better? Are we really going to see this in our lifetimes? This new earth, this new paradigm of love and unity consciousness and Christ consciousness? Well, I believe, and this, I'm going to share what came up in the record specifically in a moment, but this has come up continuously, that the mental programming is so deep for so many people, and they're in a state of cognitive dissonance, that they need to see it. And so in order for people, we cannot treat what we can't see. In order for the majority of humans, or, there's definitely still a much of minority, but we don't need the majority necessarily to wake up for Earth, for humanity to be in the fifth dimensional vibration that the Earth is moving into. But in order for a lot of humans, a plurality maybe of humans, to wake up, they need to be able to see how the programming and how bad it is and how crazy it is. And so that's what we're seeing now with all of this, the segregation of medical status. I'm being careful to not use certain words here. Essentially it's discrimination. And anyway, so we're seeing that right in front of our faces. It's not going to play out everywhere. That's also what I've been shown too, that some places are going to be more restricted than others and others won't, and we'll be able to find ways to get around it. But what came up in the records this morning was, for when we get frustrated with people, our own family members who are saying, oh, you have to do this, you can't come to this if you don't have the jab in the arm, which is heartbreaking, and some people are saying that, thankfully. Anyway, I'm grateful for my family right now, or a lot of people in my family right now, some of them. But if it comes when that, and we feel attacked, we feel angry. It's shocking that somebody would do this. How can they be doing this? And let's remember how deep the programming is and how deep fear programming is. It's all about fear. And and not to take it personally. It's not about you. It's just, that's what they're being told. And if they believe the narrative, then that's what they believe. So what they showed me was patience. And the Akashic Records was having patience for them and just disengaging. So, doesn't mean sitting back and saying, oh, that's fine, just do that, I'm not going to do anything. You can, speak your truth, say, this is not right, this is what I believe, and this is what I feel feels right to me. But not condemning, getting in an argument with, trying to, tell somebody they're wrong, because the mainstream narrative is trying to paint people like me, maybe like some of you, as angry anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers. And as a lot of you know, it's so ridiculous, it's just silly. There are some people who are angry and who viciously refuse to do anything. And, I don't do that. I try to be, quiet about it, stand in what feels right to me. If somebody asks me to put on a mask in a store, I will do it. And a lot of times I do it anyway, and a lot of times I don't. It depends on the situation. Anyway, there's been times if I've just left, but I am aware that that's the fear programming. So anyway, but what they're trying to do is paint people as these angry, it's trying to create division. And that is the opposite direction of where we're going. So for those of us who do see what's happening, how can we bring about that unity consciousness? And with patience, it's waiting for people who are awakening. They are awakening. Even people in my own family who I thought were never going to see some of the things, they are starting to see a little bit of it. They're starting to question, and they weren't months ago. So it is happening. Not everybody is, but it is happening. So if we can be patient and hold empathy and hold compassion and trying to understand and really, this might sound strange, but I've said to my husband, I sometimes think about certain people like I would as a teacher in a classroom, and people who are learning. You would never say to a student who's learning something, what's wrong with you? How can you believe that? You're wrong. It's just that's they're learning. And so, and you're being, okay, whenever you're ready, if they're, when you're in that state of awakening, we go through the stages of denial, of anger, of bargaining, moving to depression, moving hopefully to acceptance. I'm probably forgetting one. But that a lot of people are in denial and anger. And the opposite of what we want to do is to trigger them into more anger, into trying to say something to them, share them something that when they're in a state of complete cognitive dissonance, they can't hear it, and they'll remember how we made them feel. People remember how we made us. People make them feel. So if they feel conflict with us, even though we're trying to help them, to share with them stuff, but we're maybe coming at it in a way that creates conflict and creates anger, not helpful, right? But if we're able to, maybe in their moment when they're able to listen, and we just feel, how does this feel in my body? And that's also what they share with me, the masters, the Council of Elders, and the Akashic Records, Jesus and Mother Mary, especially Jesus, I connect with all the time, is how does it feel in your body? If you were to take this approach, or you were to say this particular thing, how would that feel? And that's an excellent barometer. So if you imagine, I'm just going to say this to them, and I'm going to blah, 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 they can't be doing this to me. Rightfully so. It's how can you not be angry when you're being discriminated against and treated this way? But remember, some of these amazing civil rights activists like Martin Luther King, like Gandhi, who stood up, and Nelson Mandela against apartheid, which is essentially what we're seeing today. They would be peaceful, they would be loving, and they would still speak, but they weren't yelling at people. And I know that a lot of you aren't doing that anyway, but that, again, that's how they're trying to portray us. So when we rise above and when we can listen and ask your body in every moment, what feels right in this moment for me? How can I respond in this moment? Does it feel right when somebody says, oh, I'm going to only be with you if you're vaccinated? To say, that feels strange to me, but if that's what you're choosing, that's fine. I don't believe that's right. I don't believe that's right for me, at least. But not saying you're wrong. How can you do that? You're the discriminating person. Because again, a lot of people really believe that they're doing the right thing. That is the programming. But so sitting with this place in every moment, depending on the situation, maybe they say, well, yeah, I'm so excited I got my vaccine. And in that moment, great, I'm happy for you. I said that to somebody the other day, or I didn't say, maybe I said, I'm happy for you. If that's what makes you happy, I'm happy for you. I didn't say anything else because that was the vibration they were in. And later on, I was saying, how could I say that? But that's what felt right in that moment. So at every moment, asking your body what feels right. Does this feel aligned? And if it feels like it flows in your body, it's aligned. If it feels like you're tensing up and you're tight, it's not aligned, and it's probably not for your highest good. This is all about remembering that we're moving into the fifth dimensional unity consciousness. It is happening, even though it may not seem like it. I said, somebody I saw the other day said to me, you're the only one who sees any positive in this situation. And I said to her, I believe that it's because I am able to get this gift of the Akashic Records and see it from a different perspective. Because when I get triggered and angry, I'm not able to see things from a higher perspective either. So, but believe me, I'm still human, and of course I sometimes worry about the direction our society is going in. But when I said that to her, and then I went back in the Akashic Records, it was really just patience and waiting for people to wake up at their own pace, knowing that this is part of their soul growth, this is part of their development. The mental conditioning is so deep, the programming is so deep that when they will need help, they might come to us. But if they have a memory of us, of a negative interaction with us, or a lot, us being angry at them, they might not come to us, or they might not, it might even prevent them from awakening as much as they might otherwise. Knowing that it's hard. We're all in a state of trauma. We're all in a state of suffering. So that's my message, is really trying to hold that place of trying to understand where the other is coming from, where people who we may think are completely in the programming, completely just believing the narrative. It's sad. It's hard to watch. It's hard to be around. However, if we can really try to understand, okay, a lot of us used to be that way. I used to be in the narrative. I was completely brainwashed. I did all the things I was told to do. That's what I was taught. And so remember, how did you used to be? And how could you understand how they might believe what they might believe, knowing that they're believing that, even though even some of it may seem still hard to believe with some of the medical apartheid stuff happening. But even then, how do we have patience? How do we have empathy? How do we try to help them just as Jesus would have done? So that's my message for today. I hope this is helpful in some way. It's really helped me. And I've had to make some compromises. I have to, I try to, again, and I'm sometimes surprised at the things I say or do, or I'm not standing up all the time. I'm not speaking all the time, and other times I am. It depends on the situation. It depends on how it feels in my body. It depends on that, that the guidance I feel, or what feels right in whatever moment. So it's happening. I believe we can do this. I know it is hard, but just focus on the good. Focus on what is happening. Focus on the people who are awakening instead of those who aren't. Try to really, that was also a message that came through. Focus on those who you've seen open up and who are awakening, and that will give us hope to keep going. And by the way, if you're interested in the Akashic Records class, I'm going to be offering it Thursdays, for every other Thursday for 6 sessions, starting June 10th, 10:45 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Daylight Time, whatever it's called. And my website, soulfulworkconsulting.com, you can read all about it. It's called How to Read the Akashic Records. It's limited to 12 people. Every single class in the past has filled up, and so check it out. I'll be giving a certification, certifying you to be an Akashic Records reader, if that's something that you care about. But it's unbelievably helpful. Akashic Records readings is what I do more than anything else these days. I'm booking 3 weeks out with clients regularly. My schedule is packed. The more of us that do this work, the better, because people want to know. They are ready. Okay. Thanks so much for being here. Many blessings. Much love.